Let's give a rock star welcome, Keith Baldwin! And just share a few minutes, Mr. Baldwin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. On what StrengthsFinders is, who you are, a little bit about your background, and why StrengthsFinders. Why the heck do you do this?
Well, let me start with just a brief story. My son, when he was about 5, he's 35 now, we're out for a walk, and he found this softball, brand new softball. And he picked it up and said, "Dad, can I have this?" I said, "Sure," like there's nobody around. So we get home, and I'm doing stuff in the kitchen, and it's really quiet. And, you know, when you got 5, 6-year-old boys and it gets too quiet, you get nervous.
Yeah.
And so I go, "Chris, you know, where are you? Where are you?" You know, I can't find him. I finally go out in the garage, and he's sitting on the floor with this softball with a knife, cutting the stitching off the softball. And I go into one of these stupid father tirades, you know, "What are you doing? You know you're not supposed to play with knives. You're ruining that perfectly good softball." I gave him like one of these stupid lectures that, you know, sometimes parents do. And finally, as these tears coming down his face, he goes, "Dad, I just want to see how it worked."
Oh.
I know, and I felt so bad. And so I sat down on the floor with him. We cut the stitching off the softball. We unwound all the string. And then inside we found, back then, that little magic piece of cork that made it all work. And the funny thing is, Chris has always been like that, always curious how things work. Like, I bought my first big computer. It's probably $2,500 with, get this, an 8-gig hard drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's killer. And Chris is in high school now, and I come home, and my brand new computer is on pieces on the floor. And so I'm freaking out, like, what are you doing? And he says, "Well, I just want to see how it worked." You know, and now, flash forward to now, Chris went through the Marine Corps. He worked on technology, and now he's a project manager, still taking things apart for a big telecommunications company, figuring out how it works. And he has this one strength that Gallup identifies called input. It says craving to know more, right? And so we all have these unique talents, these unique ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. But the problem is we live in a world that would convince us that those things that are easy for us, we should ignore, and those things that are hard for us, we should focus on. But research shows that success comes from being more of who we are, using our strengths to get outcomes, right? So if you don't have this written down already, write down Gallup StrengthsCenter.com. Gallup, Gallup, StrengthsCenter.com. And if you go there for $15, you can find out your top 5 strengths, which is really one of the keys for your future, really for all of our futures. Because as we start to learn more and more about ourselves, we'll start to find out that we have these unique ways of being, and that instead of focusing on what we need to fix, we should focus on what comes easy for us. Like, oftentimes, what always happens when I start coaching somebody around strengths, and we'll have identified their top strengths based upon, 60 years of research, and 13 million people have taken this assessment, and people will say, "Well, that's not a strength. That's so easy for me. Like, everybody can do that." And I'll say, "No, not everybody can do that. In fact, the chances of somebody else having the same top 5 strengths in the same order as any of us is 1 in 33 million.
Wow.
And so the real key for our future is to really think about identifying what are those things that come easy to you, like what's easy for us to learn, what are those things that people say, "Oh, you just make that look so easy," because that's the types of thing that really will create our success. And you can find out and get a start on that by going to GallupStrengthsCenter.com. You can also, if you get stuck there, you can also email either Cindy or I, so Cindy or Keith at BaldwinSuccess.com, and we can kind of walk you through how to do that. But like, as an example of this, pick up whatever your non-dominant throwing hand is. Like, for me, it'd be my left. Pretend you got that softball that Chris found in your hand, and now throw it to the stage. Like, it feels awkward, right? But here's the thing, like in the work environment, we're often put in these circumstances where we have to throw with our non-dominant hand. And as we do that throughout our life, we can get competent at it, but we'll never be excellent at it. Right? Craig's told the story many times about how he got on the stage, and would you say that he's in his strength zone when he's up here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that wasn't
I do. I feel that.
But they weren't very enthusiastic.
Yeah, I
about
know
that.
they weren't. So I shouldn't do this?
Right, so that's the real key. Like, can I tell another little story?
Sure, yeah.
So this is confession time for me. The first time I came to the RockStar Boot Camp, and Craig has these things designed. The one in March is coming up pretty soon.
Yep.
It'll be a rocking event, probably be 450 people here,
Yep.
something like that. First time we came to that, Craig's like promoting this, bring all your business cards, make sure you network during the breaks. I went to my room. Sorry, Craig, and checked emails.
That's okay.
Cindy met about 4,000 people during that break.
Right.
And I came down, she goes, so we flew from Alaska, spent thousands of dollars to get down here, and you go to your room and during networking time.
Way to go, Cindy.
Yeah, she slapped me upside the head. See, but networking is not a natural thing for me. In fact, there's this one strength called woo, winning others over. And so those are the people that love networking. For Cindy, that's like number 2, right? That's number 2 for her. So she's been in sales, and it's just really natural for her. It's number 34 for me.
Wow.
So, I spent thousands of dollars going to various events to learn how to do my elevator pitch better, to learn how to network. And it wasn't really until I started studying strengths that I started to understand that I'll never be the person to go around and meet everybody in the room. So if I don't come up and talk to you, it's not because I don't like people. It's just I don't feel comfortable just going up and approaching people all the time. What I am good at, though, is if I see one person who also looks uncomfortable, I go strike up a conversation with that person. Because I can approach people one-on-one, but in groups, it's not comfortable for me. Whereas it's totally natural for Cindy. So I don't want to give you the wrong impression. We still have results that we're going for. But one of the keys, I think, for success and the thing we focus on is what are the outcomes we're trying to achieve? What are the strategies that will drive those outcomes? So that's one piece of the puzzle. But then who am I? And then how do I get those same results based upon who I am? So I highly encourage everybody to go to GallupStrengthsFinder.com, get your report, and start looking at where do these strengths already show up in your life. And you can go and listen to a couple episodes on my podcast on iTunes. Find it also on Star Networks. And I basically interview people about their strengths. And so start looking for where do your strengths already show up. And then think about the results you're trying to achieve in your businesses or in your life. And then think about how do I do more of what I already do? Because people, all of us, tend to diminish our strengths and heighten our weaknesses. And so the more you can focus on strengths, the more success you'll have. So have fun with your strengths.
Awesome. Keith Baldwin. Nice.